What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We're doing a TLG reacts to the Game Awards nominees. It's that time of the year where the Game Awards is coming up and the nominees have been revealed. Now, of course, there has been a lot of discussion around some more controversial picks that are some of the big titles that will be up for Game of the Year. But we're going to be going through all the categories and talking about games that we would like to win and games that we think will win. I'm going to try to remember this year to tally those up and see if we get our predictions correct. But yeah, we're going to have a general conversation about what the Game Awards committee has deemed worthy of these categories, and yeah, just have a conversation. Chevy, how you doing?
Doing good. Yeah, we're in the P&W and was expecting a storm that
turbo cyclone of death, and it didn't happen to most places here. But there's like a wind tunnel around like Renton and Kent that is blowing shit down. But we didn't get the Armageddon storm that we were told we were going to get.
Yeah, I was also a little worried too because it's our grocery day, and I was expecting the store to be hammered from panic buying, but it seemed pretty all right.
Yeah, no one cared.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, it's really weird. All this hype and then nothing. So,
but otherwise, I'm good. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. A little tired. My sleep has not been great lately, but I'm excited to talk about all of these categories, and I think we should just jump in now. Every year that we do this, we'll go through and we'll talk about the esports stuff, and we'll kind of humor the idea of what we want to win, what we think will win. But I'm going to kind of skip that this year because honestly, neither of us care about esports at all. We don't care about the games, the teams, all that kind of stuff. We will talk about the game stuff though. But when it comes to the teams, we don't follow it. We don't know these teams. We're just kind of guessing, shooting in the dark. So with that, without wasting too much time on it, let's just pick what we think will win when it comes to esports stuff. First category is Best Esports Team, recognizing a specific esports team, not the full organization, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2024. The nominees are Billy Gaming for League of Legends, Gen G, League of Legends, Navi, Counter-Strike, T1, League of Legends, and Team Liquid, Dota 2. For a game that I don't hear much about anymore at all, it's amazing to see 3 League of Legends teams.
They still have an annual thing every year.
Sure. It's just kind of amazing you don't hear about it anymore. Yeah. So it's like, it's still that big and no one's talking about it really. What do you think's, who do you think's going to win?
Well, if I was going on the information that I have here, which is 3 people from League of Legends, I would say that's probably going to be the safest bet. And I would also say the first 3 pictures look like boy bands. The last 2 pictures look like winners. So I'm going to go with T1.
I like your deduction. Man, I think I always pick Team Liquid every year because I'm just like, that one has the coolest name.
Who watches Dota?
But that's a great point. So I'm probably going to agree with you with T1. You've convinced me. I didn't have to think about it. So we both think T1 will win Best Esports Team. Next one we got is Best Esports Athlete. The Esports Athlete judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2024, irrespective of game. The nominees are 33, Neda Shapira, Alexi Virolinen, Chovy, Jong Ji-hyun, Faker, Lee Sang-hyuk, Zivu, Matthew Hebaut, and Zimijikika, and that's Zhang Yang-kong. Who do you think?
Butchering people here.
Who do you think's gonna win?
The only one here I know is Faker. And I see him get clipped all the time for his actions per second or whatever. So I'm just gonna go with that because he's the only guy I know.
I'm gonna also go with Faker because I think Faker won last year. So
okay. I don't even remember last year at this point. So
yeah, I barely do. That name just always comes up.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one is best esports game for the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Valve, Dota 2, Valve, League of Legends, Riot Games, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, Moonton? What is that?
That's a big question mark for me.
Chinese game or something? Korean? And
Probably.
Valorant, Riot Games. I'll jump in. You convinced me earlier. I'm going to say League of Legends, Riot Games, because there was 3 teams earlier from that, and so I have to assume it's popular.
Yeah.
I think it's going to win.
I'm also going to say League, that I think as much as there's only one game here I would even care to watch at all, and that'd be Counter-Strike, and that's barely.
And with that, I'm going to throw out there, I want Counter-Strike 2 to win.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. But I do think it's going to be League. It'll either be that or Valorant. I think Riot is just really just too big when it comes to this space. So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next one we got is Content Creator of the Year for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2024. Nominees are Casio, Elawan, Techo Gamers, Typical Gamer, Usada Pecora.
Yep.
I think the Usada Pecora one's gonna win just because they have the avatar thing, and I'll just say I want them to win too because I don't know any of these people at all.
Yeah. I think last year Iron Mouse won, who's also a VTuber, so that was kind of interesting. I'm biased. I love Hololive, who set up Pecora as like one of the top streamers of Hololive. So
Okay.
I would like her to win, and I think she has a good chance because that is Kojima's buddy at this point. She came to visit Kojima Productions at one point, and he has a bunch of her merch, and I know he's on the committee. So, but the other 4 have crazy amount of subs, so it would not surprise me if any of them won. So,
I never heard of any of these people.
I know, not like in a good, like any deep way, but I know of Queso, but
their name's Queso.
I believe so.
That makes sense.
The other 3 I don't know, but I do know one of them has like 9-digit subs. Like it's like insane. So they're all huge. I just don't follow the sphere, obviously. So I do watch Hololive.
Yeah. So you want and think Usada's going to win?
Yeah.
Okay, same. So far, we agree on everything so far. All right, so here's something to actually discuss. Most anticipated game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. The nominees are Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Kojima Productions, Ghosts of Yotei, Sucker Punch, Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar Games, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Retro Studios Nintendo, and last but not least, Monster Hunter Wilds Capcom. This one's very difficult for me because 4 of these games are like must-play games. Metroid Prime 4, I know there's going to be people who are really excited for that, so I have to think about that when I think of who I think will win as opposed to who I want to win. But I just don't think that has any. I don't think that has any. It's not a competition here, in my opinion. So I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will win. And I want Death Stranding 2 On the Beach to win because Death Stranding was my game of the year that year. I love Death Stranding. I can't wait to play it. But honestly, if any of the 4 games that's not Metroid won, I want them all to win because I'm excited for all 4 games. But I think Grand Theft Auto, when you get a new Grand Theft Auto, when you get a new Rockstar game, it's an event in gaming. It's one of the biggest things out there. I think the anticipation for it's huge. Someone walked on stage last year at the Game Awards and made that scene about, I want Grand Theft Auto 6. Where's Grand Theft Auto 6? So people are willing to do stupid shit like that for Grand Theft Auto. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I do also think it will be Grand Theft Auto 6 because I just think it is one of the largest games out there. There are 3 on here personally that I would pick, and I'm having a hard time between two of them, and this is where we will disagree. I'm definitely going to play Death Stranding 2. I'm excited to play it, but I am more excited to play Ghosts and Ghosts of Yotei and Monster Hunter Wilds. So I feel like I'm going to get the most time out of Monster Hunter, so it's probably my most anticipated on this list.
So that's what you want to
That's
win.
what I would want to win, yeah.
Yeah, like
That's a tough one, though, because like I love Ghost of Tsushima, and I can't wait for the sequels of that as well. So.
Yeah, and like I said, all four of those I want to win,
Yeah.
but I got to lean in on Death Stranding because I love Kojima. I want more from Kojima, so it's a big event for me. So we both think Grand Theft Auto, and we differ on this. Finally, next one we got is Best Adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. The nominees are Arcane, Riot, Fallout, Bethesda, Knuckles, Sega, Paramount, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, I forgot that even happened, Sega and Amazon, and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, I also forgot that happened, Crystal Dynamics, Legendary, Netflix. I think Fallout's going to win, and I want Fallout to win.
Okay.
The reason is, I should probably elaborate a bit since we're having a conversation here.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Tomb Raider thing, and I didn't hear much about it. I heard some people complain about it. Like a Dragon, I heard people were disappointed with. I didn't watch it. Knuckles, I forgot even happened. I didn't watch it. Arcane, I've heard good things about, but I didn't hear much about. I didn't even know it actually... Did that come out this... Like, I guess it did, because it's on here, but like...
I think season 2 is airing right now.
Okay, so that's why I'm confused about it. So, but Fallout was like a whole thing when it came out. I actually thought it was pretty good. I didn't love it, but I definitely didn't dislike it. They did much better than I thought they would with it. And I think it had the most positive hype behind it. Arcane was definitely popular though, but yeah, I think and want Fallout.
Yeah, this is brutal for me because I don't watch stuff.
Except for anime.
Yeah. My want would probably be Knuckles because I liked the Sonic movie and I had heard that the follow-ups were also good. I just haven't seen them yet. Whatever. I know there's always one in the works at this point. I think Arcane's going to get it personally.
Okay.
I do think Fallout and Arcane are like the
One of those two
choices
for sure.
For sure. I am leaning towards Arcane though because I've personally heard more people talk about that show than I have for Fallout. So
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised with either of those. I'm only going with Fallout because I personally thought it was pretty good, but
yeah.
Also Bethesda's got like a strong following, and people also follow Bethesda stuff who aren't even that big of gamers. Like people are watching Fallout who don't even know anything about actually like the Fallout games.
Right.
So, but Arcane I heard really good things about too. So, but also we were talking earlier about how League of Legends, there's 3 teams that were all League of Legends teams, and then League of Legends on the other one. I'm just like, it's apparently still very popular. So
Yeah.
that can lend itself to, just the sheer numbers of people lend itself to that winning. So, but again, this is all voted for by a committee, and we are only basically a tiebreaker when it comes to voting. So I think our votes are like 10% of the whole vote. So
Yeah.
all right, moving on. We got Best Multiplayer for Outstanding Online Multiplayer Gameplay and Design, including co-op, massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game, genre, or platform. Nominees are Black Ops 6, Call of Duty, Treyarch, Activision, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Studios, Super Mario Party Jamboree. I'd be fucking blown away if that won. Tekken 8, Bandai Namco, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Best Multiplayer. Very interesting. What do you think?
I think it's a little strange, and it is technically multiplayer. That Tekken 8 is on here because it is a very like limited multiplayer experience.
There's a hub you can hang out.
That being said, my think and want are going to line up, and they both are Helldivers too. So,
Yeah, I also agree with you. I think there's a chance Call of Duty could win because people are raving about this one. Like in terms of like the multiplayer, I guess is pretty good, but also everybody's talking about the single player. Obviously, it doesn't affect this, but just the name Call of Duty in a positive light. might lead people to vote for it no matter what. It's also got so many people playing it that just the numbers of people familiar with it are high. I think Warhammer definitely deserves the nod, but I don't think it's going to win, especially because it came out, people really liked it, and then it kind of tapered off pretty quick. Helldivers 2 is kind of an event when it came out. People are still playing quite a bit, so I also think it got kind of robbed in some other categories that we'll get to later. So I would like to see it win something, and I do think out of these, I think it is the best multiplayer experience for sure. And I also think it has a good chance because I think a lot of people still really love Helldivers 2. And so I think it has a really good chance to win. So yeah, I want to and think that one as well. Though, like I said, you can't sleep on Call of Duty. It's too big.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Best sports racing for the best traditional, non-traditional sports and racing game. Nominees are F124 Codemasters, EA Sports FC 25, EA Vancouver, NBA 2K25 Visual Concepts, Top Spin 2K25, Hangar 13, that's interesting, WWE 2K24. This...
We played that, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Last month. So we've actually interacted with one of these. I don't know if that's the FC we played or not. I don't think it is. I think it's 24. Year, yeah. So. This is really interesting though, because there's like almost no racing games this year on here. Normally there's like 1 or 2 racing games.
And now we have F1,
which neither of us played, and I don't care about. So, okay, so I think EA Sports FC 25 is going to win. I want WWE 2K24 to win only because it's the only game here I played, and I thought it was pretty solid. So,
yeah, I'm going to completely agree with you. I think soccer or football is one of the it is one of the largest sports in the world, and those games have been going on forever. I know NBA is also a huge one,
but worldwide,
I just think more people care about soccer.
Yeah, I think worldwide more people are probably playing FC, but I don't know.
I don't either.
But they're high quality games. We played 24, I think.
Yeah,
and it was decent. So, yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see wrestling win.
Okay, so we agree on that one too. Very exciting so far. Okay, next one up is Best Sim Strategy, best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, respective of platform. The nominees are Age of Mythology Retold, World's Edge, Frostpunk 2, 11-Bit Studios. Is that out?
Yep.
I fucking need to play that. Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, Capcom, Manor Lords, Slavic Magic, Unicorn Overlord, Vanillaware, Sega Atlas. Chevy, what do you want and what do you think?
I've almost bought Manor Lords so many times, so it's nice to see it on this list. It's kind of reinforcing on my wish list.
Did buy it and I returned it.
Uh-oh.
I didn't dislike it. I wasn't like, I started playing. I'm like, I'm not in the mental mindset to play this right now. So, okay. Yeah, I refunded it and I'll pick it up when I'm in the mood to play a game like that.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I actually think it's anyone's ball game as far as like who could actually win this one.
Yeah, none of these are like giant games, so like it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Frostpunk.
Interesting,
but I want it to be Unicorn Overlord. I think Vanillaware makes awesome games.
Yep.
I wish they'd make PC games though. But they make awesome games.
Oh, dude, I would have all their games if I could buy them on Steam.
Yeah, and they're usually a lot more in depth than they initially appear. So, yeah, that's my thought.
What's your thinking behind Frostpunk 2?
I just know a lot of people love the first one.
Yeah, the first one's awesome.
But I haven't heard anyone really talk about any of these games, sadly, at all. So, like, I just know one has a track record. Age of Mythology does too, but that's more for like our age demographic. There's a lot more younger gamers. So,
yeah, more and more I recognize there's a whole demographic of gamers who are just not aligned with me because they're younger. There's all these games they never played. Like their views are completely different. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I interact with them all the time on TikTok, so it's enlightening to kind of see that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really my only thinking on that is I just know the first game people raved about. So
Yeah.
and I haven't heard anyone complain about the second game, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. I want Unicorn Overlord to win. I still haven't picked it up. I really want to play it, but I've heard awesome things about it, and I also like Vanillaware a lot. So I think it'd be awesome to see them get anything. I think Manor Lords is going to win because Manor Lords came out to a lot of hype. When it came out, it was well received. It reviewed well. People were talking about it, and it came out on Game Pass. So more people probably got their hands on it. I haven't heard anybody except for one person in our community talk about Kunitsugami. When we did community pick game of the month, somebody brought it up, and I'm like, I'd love to play it. There's a good reason to play it. Frostpunk 2, I really want to play that, but I haven't heard anyone talk about it really, except for I watched a review on it. Of course, they're talking about it. Age of Mythology Retold. I don't think it's going to win because it's a remake. And it's awesome, but like that's like you said, more for people who probably already played it and maybe someone who's curious about it. But and that's probably on Game Pass as well since it's Xbox. But I think Manor Lord's going to win, and I want Unicorn Overlord to win. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird. This is a straight up Capcom game, and barely heard anything about it.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
They're good on them for experimenting.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Next category we got is Best Family. It's for the best family out there. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, the nominees are Astrobot Team Asobi, Princess Peach Showtime, Good Feel, Nintendo, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Nintendo Cube, Nintendo, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Grezzo, Nintendo, and The Plucky Squire, All Possible Futures, Devolver. I'll jump in real quick. I want and think Astrobot's gonna win. This one's tough though because they're all three of these are fucking Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So like they all have a good chance. Nintendo people love no matter what. I'm sure. I'm trying to think of if I was somebody on this committee, what would I pick? And I feel like the easy pick would be one of the Nintendo games, but the indie nature of the Plucky Squire could get some people to pick that. And it is kind of neat. That's the game where you go from like 2D to on pages to like in 3D. It's a cool concept. So that could happen. But Astrobot was like, it came out reviewed like excellent. People were saying like this is one of the best platformers out there. There's more talk about Astrobot than any game here. So that's why I think it'll win. And also I want to win because I actually haven't played Astrobot, which is kind of sad because I think it's probably one of the biggest talked about games I've heard of this year. And I also love the older tech demos of Astrobot. So I need to play it, but yeah, that's why I wanted to win. Is because I like Astrobot, even though I haven't played that one. So anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. I also want Astrobot to win. I think Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to win. I've seen a lot of people stream that game, so it looks pretty good.
No, I'm not saying this in a way to disagreeing. I'm saying it'd be interesting to see a Mario Party game win something. For some reason in my brain doesn't click like a party game winning an award, I guess. I think of like, an adventure game would win that.
Yeah, I guess where my head is usually with it is like when I think family game is something you can sit down and play with your family.
Yeah.
And I think Astrobot's single player. So.
Yeah. Well, Plucky Square also. It might have co-op, I'm not sure. But
I think Princess Peach is also single player. So like
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Does that have multiplayer?
I don't know. So the only one like I could think of like playing with the family is Mario Party. And maybe my way of thinking is just wrong. Yeah. But that's just how I approach it. So
that's fair. So you want Astro and
I do want Astro. And I would love it if it won. So
yeah, I agree. I really wanted to win something. And I would love it to win big because ever since I first played the first Astrobot tech demo, which I forgot what that was for.
I think it was for PS3.
PS3 for the controller.
Yeah.
Or PS5 had. Well, I don't remember. It might. Yeah, I think you shook it around in there, and then on PSVR they had an Astrobot thing, and then on PS5 they had an Astrobot thing to show off the vibration and stuff.
Right, that was for the Dual Sense. But they also had one for the Dual Shock.
That's what I'm saying, because back on that one, you had to shake them around inside the Dual Shock.
Yeah.
But
I think they had one for the original PSVR as well, or was it just
that's what I'm saying.
Too?
PSVR was for PS4, and that they had one for that as well.
Yeah.
So every generation, it seems so far, from PS3 up, had an Astrobot game. Anyway, my point is, I would like to see them win, because I was saying forever with a lot of people that there needs to be like an Astrobot game, and they made one. So
well, yeah, and like
it's received well.
Sony's been out of the platformer game for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was good of them to actually like dive in and make one and get good reception on it, because like Nintendo basically owns platformers. So
yeah, true. All right, next one up is Best Fighting for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. The nominees are Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Spike's Chunsoft, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising Arc System Works, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Capcom Multiverses, which came back this year, Player First Games, WB Games. I've heard that they lost a bunch of money on that game. And then Tekken 8, Bandai Namco. Really easy for me. I want Tekken 8 to win, because that's probably my favorite game out of all these. I think Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is going to win.
Okay, we're going to have very differing opinions on this one.
Okay.
I think Tekken 8's going to win.
Interesting. Okay.
But I want Grand Blue to win, because I love Arc System Works.
That's fair. Yeah, so my thinking is I want Tekken 8 to win. I don't know if it has a big enough community to push it in that direction of winning, but I wanted to, just because out of all these games I've played two of these, I think, except for probably all the old Capcom Marvel games I've played. Tekken 8's awesome. I really fucking like it a lot, and I just love Tekken in general. But Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been like a nonstop meme since it released. It's still being talked about right now.
Yeah, I'm missing all that apparently.
So many people have, like, people are talking about it constantly. There are people who are saying that it like needs to be a nominee for Game of the Year. So like with conversations like that, I'm not seeing that for any of these other games. So that's why I think it's going to win. I don't think it should win, but I think it might, because I'm not seeing the conversation around other games the same as I'm seeing for Sparking Zero. So
yeah,
you know. You want to elaborate a bit? You already said you like Arc System. I agree with you on that.
My only
I just haven't played that.
Is like this could be a kind of a weird way of it, I guess, but I watch Maximilian Dude, who just is into fighting games, and I've not really heard him talk about Dragon Ball that much. But he talks about Tekken, so
okay, yeah, but he's like a fighting game guy, and if you're a fighting game guy, you're probably gonna go for Tekken, which is a more traditional, high skill, competitive community type game. I think a lot of people, maybe it's the younger people I'm seeing a lot on TikTok or whatever, but I think there's just a lot of younger people who probably don't even care about Tekken, who are just into another, Dragon Ball game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because like I don't see any of these. So
yeah. I know Multiverses is gonna win, and I really like Multiverses, but I'm just like, it's weird they even like disappeared for a while and re-released the game, and now it's like all this talk about they're losing money or they lost money on it, which is sucks to hear, but like it that doesn't really tell me that it's gonna win anything.
Yeah, I'm also a little biased because I don't consider that a fighting game. So
why not?
I don't consider
like platformer fighters,
Smash Bros style game to be a fighting game. I think it's more of a brawler.
Yeah.
So
people
are probably gonna disagree with that.
No, I mean, I disagree with it, but I don't care. So I'm not going to fight you on that. Who cares? All right. So you think Tekken, you want Grand Blue?
Okay. Because I love the way Arc System Works makes fighting games.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Out of all these, like, that's one of them. Well, I really fucking love Tekken as well, though. Two of these are much loved devs. All right, next category, we got Best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. The nominees are Dragon's Dogma 2, Capcom Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree from Software, the big controversial DLC, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Square Enix, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Ryuga Gotoku, oh my god, studio, and Metaphor Refantasio, Studio Zero Atlas, Sega. This one is tough, so I'll let you tackle it first.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it's a hard one. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will get it. I personally would say I would like Metaphor to get it. I think it is such a interesting and fun experience compared to. And no, they're all. I'm going to put it out there. These are all great games on this list here.
Yeah, any of these winning, I'd be happy with. In fact, the only game here, no, I like them all.
Yeah, they're all solid RPGs.
I just feel mixed on Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth because I haven't beaten it yet, and the reason for that, and it's better in every way than the last game, except the story is just meandering, and that's not even bad. The game's awesome, but like it's disappointing that I'm not driven to want to keep playing it because the story's like doing some weird shit. I need to finish it, but otherwise it's awesome to play. I fucking love playing it. I felt kind of the same with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well, but otherwise, like, yeah, these are all awesome games, and I only beat 2 of them. I've played all of them though.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Final Fantasy, I would like Metaphor.
Yeah, I also think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to take it, just because there's a lot of controversy around Elden Ring, which if Shadow of the Erdtree wins anything, it deserves out of its quality to win, but I do kind of lean towards like, should it even be here? I don't mind that a DLC is being added to these lists, but I do agree with like, if you were to take it out and replace it with a game that actually did release and not just a DLC, I think that would maybe be more deserving. I think that's my argument for it, but a lot of people seem really upset with it, so I don't know, I feel mixed on it. But yeah, I think Final Fantasy will win just because when it comes down to it, when people are discussing what the best RPG is and what should win, I think it's the closest to the big AAA high budget traditional RPG that I think a lot of people are probably gonna come down and just be like, that's the winner. I feel like a lot of people feel similar to me about Like a Dragon, so I don't think it's gonna win. Metaphor, I don't think enough people are gonna play to vote for it. Elden Ring's controversial. I want Dragon's Dogma 2 to win because it's one of my favorite games of 2024. Now I got a lot of favorite games of 2024. I keep saying every time I play a new game, I'm like, this is one of my favorite games of 2024. It's one of them for sure. So it's an action RPG. I mean, so is Final Fantasy. So is Elden Ring. So yeah, not really a point to be made, but I saw some people arguing like, it's not even an RPG. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's an action RPG.
Turn-based does not equal RPG.
Yes, people are confused on what RPGs are. I had somebody argue with me about BioShock being an RPG, and I'm like, it's not an RPG, and they're like, there's a fucking story with choices. I'm like, that's not what an RPG is.
Congrats, it is a dialogue-heavy third-person shooter.
First person, but yeah. Yeah, it's... So anyway, it was weird when I saw BioShock being called an RPG. I'm like, this is like back when I was younger. We talked about this, and people used to call Zelda a fucking RPG, and it's like, that's an action game. It's just fantasy. But anyway, I digress. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just because I think it's the highest profile, most agreed upon, probably well-made AAA RPG here, and I want Dragon's Dogma 2 because I think it got snubbed for Game of the Year. And so that it's on the tippy top areas, it needs to win something because it was fucking huge when it came out this year. So there's a couple games that I feel like kind of got forgotten this year that were huge. It's really weird. So I want that to win. Also, I played through it. I beat it in like 3 days. I played it for 3 days straight. I got like almost no sleep. I was like so into it. So I would like it to win for that. But honestly, any of these games winning, I'll be happy.
Because I don't think it's a bad choice here.
They're all solid, and it's kind of cool because a lot of times with the RPG category in other years, I'm like, that one for sure should win. This year, I'm like, that's kind of crazy. We got this many good And there's like other ones like
There's so many right
like
now.
Unicorn Overlord and all sorts of. There's so many RPGs. There's one that I can't think of that's missing from this that I've played.
Oh, I was like, Sea of Stars is an indie one that came out. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not gonna check.
yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So anyway, all good picks. I'll be happy with any of them. Best action adventure for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. The nominees are Astrobot, Team Asobi, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Ubisoft. One of the only Ubisoft games this year that was praised. Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team, Star Wars Outlaws, Massive Entertainment, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, Grezzo, Nintendo. This is best action adventure. Best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. It's not going to be Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think it's going to be Legend of Zelda. I think there could be a contingent of people who feel like Prince of Persia was overlooked, and they might vote for it to try and give it some boost, I guess. This is tough. I want Silent Hill 2 to win. I think it's weird it's here, but there's not
Weird category.
There's not a horror category though. So like, where's it gonna go?
True.
And when you're playing it, it doesn't feel like an action adventure game.
I also think it's a weird category for Astrobot too, though, because that's a platformer.
Yeah, but I mean, Uncharted is an action adventure game, and it's basically platforming with guns.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to be here, but
Yeah.
it's like kind of.
I get the point.
Kind of a weirder fit, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas like Prince of Persia is absolutely
straight
like
up, yeah.
so classically action adventure. So anyway, I want Silent Hill 2 to win, even though I don't think it should be here, but I want it to win. And I think Astrobot's gonna win. Though I think there's like a weird trump card there of like Prince of Persia might win in my head, because I think there was a lot of people like really trying to like tell people this game's great. No one's talking about it. So
Everyone's mad at Ubisoft.
yeah, that's why I'm saying with Star Wars Outlaws, that's not winning.
Yeah.
If it does, something's up.
Well, it would be the 90% making decisions. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think and want Astrobot.
Okay, simple enough.
Yeah, because I do think Silent Hill 2 is definitely I would say an adventure, action.
It's
kind of.
It's a depressing and oppressive, horrible, terrible adventure.
But it's an adventure.
Yeah, and it's so good. But yeah,
I know it has action in it, but I don't know. I would call Silent Hill an action game.
Oh, I got a clip of me playing it like a fucking Dark Souls game. It's definitely action if you play it right. All right, simple enough.
Yeah.
Next category, we got Best Action Game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. No surprise, the nominees are Black Myth, Wukong, Game Science, Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Treyarch, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Game Studios, Stellar Blade, Shift Up, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Shelby, what do you think?
I think this is a difficult category.
Before you read Black Myth Wukong, don't read Black and then look at Wukong with that W and then go to read the next thing, because you might say something wild.
I think Wukong will win. I want Stellar Blade to win.
I think Black Myth Wukong will also win, because the amount of people who played it, the amount of people who hyped it up, the amount of people who said it's game of the year. I heard that from a bunch of people. The amount of people who were making a big deal about how they thought it was going to get snubbed at the Game Awards. So that shows me that people wanted it to be here. So I think it has a really good chance of winning. What I want to win, Helldivers 2. Even though it's like a shooter. I mean, it's technically an action game, but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird it's there. Call of Duty.
These two are so weird in here.
Warhammer actually does belong here for sure, though, because that game is so close range combat and like blocking and slicing and shooting that it's and like Stellar Blade, Black Myth, they all definitely are action. They're all technically action games, but those ones feel more classically action.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's a weird fit because it's just like a first-person shooter. It's technically as action in it, so you can make the case, like, oh, it's an action game because there's action. Sure.
And Helldivers is a third-person shooter.
It's a third-person shooter, yeah. But it's got awesome action. But
Yeah.
I would still be like, you know, if there's a first-person shooter or shooter genre or category, those obviously should be there. So it's kind of weird. But anyway,
I mean, just nitpicking, obviously.
yeah. Well, it's worth discussing. Actually, no, fuck it. I want Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Originally,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, I had to speak it out and fucking what I was thinking. So, yeah, I'd like that to win. I think Black Myth will win, though. So I think it's going to win something for sure because of the amount of talk. It was like a flash in the pan, a lot of talk, went away pretty quick. But when it was happening, there's a lot of people talk about that game. So, all right. Next category, best VR AR for the best game experience, playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Nominees are Arizona Sunshine Remake. I didn't even know it was a thing. There's a remake of that. Vertigo Games. Asgard's Wrath 2, which looked actually pretty cool. Senzar Games, Oculus Studios, Batman Arkham Shadow. I heard that was good as well. Camouflage. Metal Hellsinger VR, Lab 42. And then Metro Awakening, Vertigo Games. I have not played any of these. I haven't heard anything about any of these. I didn't even know Metal Hellsinger VR or Arizona Sunshine Remake were a thing. So I think it's either going to be Batman or it's going to be Asgard's Wrath, because Asgard's Wrath 2, I think like IGN and they're part of the voting block of people gave it a 10, which is fucking crazy for a VR game.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say I think that's going to win. Just because it's kind of crazy the game journalists gave it a 10. And it might be great. I don't know. It's on Oculus, so I don't think I'll ever play it. Batman Arkham Shadow, I heard really good things about as well, but not to the same degree of like praising, just saying it's like an awesome Batman experience. I want Metro to win because I fucking love Metro. So,
yeah.
Though I haven't played any of these.
I mean, I was quite ignorant of all five of these, so just kind of based on what you said, I kind of will have to agree with you that if that was praised so highly, I think it's basically a shoe-in.
Yeah.
Asgard's Wrath 2, by the way. So I think that'll win. Excuse me.
It's done.
I would like Metro to win as well.
Okay, fair enough. I'm actually playing through Metro Exodus right now because I'm like fiending to play Stalker 2. And I never beat Metro Exodus, but I'm playing through it right now. And it came out in 2019, and playing it, I'm like, this could have came out now, and it looks like that good. Mm-hmm. Like it's awesome. All right, so next category is best mobile game. For the best game playable on a mobile device, the categories or the nominees are AFK Journey, Farlight, Balatro, Local Thunk, is that what this is? Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Creatures Inc., Wuthering Waves. That's that game you're talking about. Wuthering, well, I hate that word. Kuro Games, and Zenless Zone Zero, Hoyoverse. This is completely out of my spectrum of gaming knowledge. I do know so many people have talked about Balatro this year. So much so that I've almost bought it a couple times.
I own it.
I think I'm going to buy it on my phone if I do buy it. But I'm not a card guy. I'm not a poker guy. I know it's not poker.
You're
but
a rogue fan, though.
I am. I like roguelites. And
that's what it is.
And every time I see somebody go like, "Oh, is Balatro good?" People are like, "Don't even look it up. Don't worry about it, because if you look it up, you're going to play it and then you're going to be addicted to it. So just don't even worry about it." So many people say stuff like that. So, but then like Pokemon, like,
yeah, but I've only heard of one person ever.
Yeah,
playing that one. I'm sure people do play it. I'm kind of curious because, just to throw it out there, out of the 5 games here, I have not played Pokemon. I played the other 4.
Okay. Is AFK Journey big? I get commercials for it all the time.
It's one of the larger growth. In fact, that and the last 2 are very high grossing. So
yeah,
Wuthering is probably the weakest of the 3 in money terms.
I don't hear anything about Wuthering Waves, so I don't think it's going to win. I don't think Pokemon's going to win, even though I think it has a good chance because it's Nintendo. but I don't think it's gonna win. But Zenless Zone Zero, I don't hear anything about, but I've heard about it. AFK Journey, I get commercials for all the time, so obviously it's got a budget to be able to spend on ads. Balatro, I've heard from actual people all over the fucking place. So I either think AFK Journey or Balatro is going to win, but I'm just going to go with Balatro. I think Balatro will win because of just the sheer love for it. All the people who talk positively about it. I think it's going to win, and I want it to win.
Yeah.
I'll put both on that.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think Balatro is gonna win. It is
Okay.
Everyone who's ever played it loves it.
I haven't heard anything. I've never heard anything bad about it.
I am not on the same page as everyone. I think it's a great game. I like playing it. I don't think it's addictive though. It's like something I can play sometimes and like be okay with like shutting it off. Like it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it like it's drugs.
Yeah. Well, I could see playing it. I get why they do that. I just doesn't do. I'm not a roguelike fan either. So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are not being addictive. I do think it is a fun game though. I just think the fact that it's nominated later as well in a large category says a lot. So I think it's going to win. I have played AFK Journey, Balatro, Wuthering, and most recently Zenless Zone Zero. AFK Journey I like, but I think the seasonal grind is like super annoying. So I had to drop that one. So I'm like not really like my ball's not in that court anymore. Wuthering Waves is Genshin but different. I'm having a hard time getting into it. Let me know if I should like put the effort into like getting further into that game. I'm enjoying ZZZ actually. I didn't think I was gonna. The combat's pretty fun. The characters are all dorks, but that's the style of the game.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say I would like ZZZ to win because out of all of these, it's probably the one I've had the most fun with. So.
And you think Balatro?
I think Balatro. Okay. I don't even think there's a question.
Yeah. I just, when I hear people talk about it, I have a feeling people who are part of the committee or have probably played Balatro and feel the same about loving it so much that it's going to outweigh any of the popular demand of any of these.
It's also the only one here you have to pay for, I think.
Yeah, probably.
The rest are free.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
So,
but a game that's accessible to more people also, you know, has an edge. So, all right, Balatro. Next category is Best Debut Indie Game. For the Best Debut Game created by a new independent studio, the nominees are Animal Well, Shared Memory, Balatro, Local Thunk, Manor Lords, Slavic Magic. See, Manor Lords come up again. Pacific Drive, Ironwood Studios, and the Plucky Squire. I really want to play it, but every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm in the mood to play that, but it sounds awesome. Plucky Squire, all possible futures. I think Animal Well is gonna win. Because when it came out, people were making like a fucking huge deal about it.
that's how I'm trying to think about it too, because it's like the best debut.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it came out, and as like even indie devs, like that had that donkey dude who had something to do with it. People were like praising it and saying like there's no action, but every single place you go into has like secrets and all these interactive things, and it's always brand new ideas in every section you go to. Like just the sheer amount of like how surprised I was at like how much people were talking about it. I feel like it's gonna win for that reason, and I almost picked it up myself. I still haven't played it, just because of how much I was hearing about it. So yeah, I think that's gonna win. It's not gonna win, but I would like Pacific Drive to win because I think it'd be kind of an interesting pick. It's like the most out of all these, I think it has the least chance of winning, and that's why I think it'd be cool if it won. So, but yeah, I think Animal will win.
Yeah. I think Balatro's gonna win. But I would like Animal Well to win because when I would like saw all of these, the two that kind of stand out to me the most are the Plucky Squire and Animal Well. I do think Animal Well has a pretty crazy look to it, which I think is very attractive to look at. Plucky Squire is like a close second in that regard, though, because it is also a really cool looking game. So,
Yeah.
it's hard to say because I see 5 games here that I know people like. So,
Sad thing is all 5 of these. Well, no, never mind. That destroys my whole thing. I was gonna say 5 of these games are all games that I think look cool and I want to play, and I didn't play any of them, but I did play Manor Lords.
yeah,
For a millisecond.
a stint.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I'm not in the mental mindset to play a game like this right now. So, yeah. So you think Balatro, you want Animal Well?
Yes.
Okay. Next one up is Best Independent Game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside of the traditional publisher system. The nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei, and The Laser Eyes, a game I've never heard of, from Simogo. And Annapurna. That's interesting. Neva from Nomada Studios, and UFO 50 Mossmouth. So this is outstanding creative technical achievement. I think Animal Well's going to win. If it doesn't win the other one, which I think it'll win, I think it'll win this because people were like praising it about its design. And that's something that you always hear. You know, the most excitement about indie games is when they bring something to the table that just like screams like this is what video games are for. And I think Animal Well had that conversation going for it. What I want to win Best Independent Game, I'll just say Balatro because of how much people were talking about it, like how much they're like, you know, Animal Well's like the new artsy, like, oh my god, I can't believe they made this type game. Balatro's like the crack that they sold to everybody and everybody's hooked on it. And so because of that, I want that to win, but I think Animal Well would win.
Yeah. This is going to be Think and Want for Animal Well.
Okay. Fair enough. Next one up is Best Community Support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates patches. The nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, coming back from last year, Larian. That was last year or the year before? When did Baldur's Gate 3 come out? I think it was last year. I think it was last year. These last like 4 years are a fucking blur, man. Final Fantasy 14, Square Enix, always on this list. Fortnite, also always on this list. Epic Games, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Game Studios, and No Man's Sky, Hello Games. Yeah. This is a tough one. What do you think?
It is a tough one. My first thought is Helldivers had a really big hiccup this year.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know if it has a chance in this category.
I'm not picking this, but I would like for them to win. But they did have that hiccup. So with that hiccup, I don't think they're going to win because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I love Baldur's Gate 3, but like...
Yeah, you're kind of in a tough place. Here's my counter argument if you're going to talk about Final Fantasy 14. People don't seem to be super in love with that expansion.
Yeah, well, so my thought was I think No Man's Sky is going to get it.
Okay.
It has had a ton of updates this year.
I feel like every other week there's a new fucking update that's adding like all sorts of shit.
I am biased, and I would like it to be Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
But I will say they're still kind of in a spot where they have to kind of like show the community that they're making good on their what they've advertised for this expansion. And they have told us it'll take until about 7.3. We just got 7.1. So we got months to wait still. But
which is interesting because like in past years when we've talked about this is like your easy go-to. So it's interesting.
I love the game. Don't get me wrong.
It's interesting. We're in a place right now where we can have discussion on some other games possibly, because I normally would pick 14 as well because I think it's one of the best MMOs out there.
And I honestly still think that. I just think that last expansion, I don't think this is a Dawn Trail problem. I think this is an Endwalker problem. I think they made too much content that had no reason to repeat it. And so people ran out of like reasons to log in every day. So you logged in for patches, you did the story, you did the new stuff, and then you let your sub expire, and then you could just do it again next time. And I think a lot of that was admittedly because that expansion, its development cycle was during COVID time. And so like they probably had a hard time making complicated content for that in that regard. This expansion, they don't have that excuse, and they have promised 50% more stuff to do by 7.3. And so like that's what we're kind of waiting to see content wise. The stuff that I have played this expansion has been great. The story is whatever, but like we're on the end of like this 10-year epic story. I wasn't expecting it to be insane. It's a weird spot for it because obviously it's basically like starting over. So, but they do support it constantly and they listen to feedback. I just think it's been not as solid as it has been before. But I'm saying that very lightly because I think the game's still doing just fine. There's a queue to log in still. So, but yeah, No Man's Sky just knocking it out of the park. So,
is that your like or what? I
think No Man's Sky is gonna get it.
Okay.
I would like 14 to get it because I love the game.
Okay, gotcha. I would like any of these games to win. I think they're all doing a great job. They're all here for a reason. Sometimes I don't agree with every pick, but this one I'm like, nah, these are all good picks. Even Fortnite. We every year defend Fortnite because Epic has done a fantastic job leading the way on, making fucking, their own metaverse, I guess, first before anybody else. But yeah, they pump money into that game. They take money, but they also pump money into it. So they do a good job with it. Helldivers 2 definitely had a hiccup, but I still think it's been mostly positive. And they did recently fix a lot of the issues. So transparency, responsiveness, inclusive of, social media stuff. So I think they've done a good job, but I think they are the weakest candidate here. I also think Final Fantasy 14, not from my own experience, but just from what I've heard from other people, liking the expansion but not loving it, also makes it feel a little weak to me. So Baldur's Gate 3, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about what they've done with that game in terms of like support, adding endings, all sorts of shit. Kind of crazy that they're almost treating it like a games as a service game, but it's not. And No Man's Sky's like the fucking the underdog who just like really.
Yeah, will you let us buy a DLC at some point?
Yeah, I'll give you money because I want them to win. I want No Man's Sky to win out of all these. I do want Baldur's Gate 3 to win as well because I think they've done Larian like knocked the game out of the park and then they supported it like a motherfucker. Like they've just like they've shown the example of what any AAA company should be doing with their games. That's the example.
They also showed that like you can make a turn-based game. And we saw actually a few come out this year, so I'm not like complaining too much. And they've been solid games, so I'm like happy about that. I don't think every RPG needs to be turn-based, but holy crap, they don't need to disappear either.
Yeah. So I want No Man's Sky to win. I think it's between No Man's Sky or Baldur's Gate 3 to just make it interesting. I'll pick Baldur's Gate 3.
So you gotta pick one.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3, although it's very close for me with No Man's Sky, just because I don't think there's any negatives when it comes to this discussion around that game. But Baldur's Gate 3, obviously people love it. I have heard nothing negative about the support on that game. I've only heard the opposite.
Yeah.
But I want No Man's Sky because they've a long time ago did amazing things to make up for that game, and they've just been doing it since. And it's just like, stop. Sell something. Stop. Like you already did it. You already made up for the bullshit. So yeah. Next one up is Best Ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. It's basically games as a service games. Destiny 2 is the first nominee from Bungie, of course. I don't think it's going to win. Diablo 4, Blizzard, Final Fantasy 14, Square, Fortnite, Epic Games, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Game Studios. So let's see. Ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I don't think Destiny 2 will win. I don't. I don't think Fortnite's going to win it. I think Diablo 4 could, because I think a lot of people like it. I'm not a big fan of it, but I think a lot of people like it. I want Helldivers 2 to win because it's doing what all these other games are doing, but in the beginning, it was doing some really cool. It promised a lot that it hasn't really fulfilled, but it at first was like actually evolving.
Yeah, I think the damage control part of its cycle is kind of messed with its flow.
Yeah, but the original promise and the early days of Helldivers 2 was offering something that the rest of these games have not. And so I'd like it to win for that. I won't forget that because they had a hiccup. Who I think will win? I think it's either going to be Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, or Helldivers 2. I'll pick... I'm gonna pick Helldivers 2. Fuck it. I think it's gonna win, and I want it to win.
Okay. I mean, I think it's gonna be Fortnite, to be honest, just because that game is endless.
And obviously that's your pick, but like the reason I don't think it's gonna win anything this year is because like it's there every year, and I haven't heard much about it this year.
I haven't either, but I haven't honestly heard anything about all 5 of these games this year. So
I've heard about 14.
I mean, I have to because I'm like in the community in that regard.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, I haven't really heard much.
Yeah. Honestly, out of all these, the ones I've heard about the most is Helldivers 2. Easily the most out of any of these games.
Same.
But also Diablo by like a lot of more like casual type people.
I haven't heard a whole lot about that one, but
out of these, I've heard it more than the rest of them. I've heard about it more than Final Fantasy because Diablo, like, I mean, fucking Elon Musk talks about it. I mean, like, you're talking about Diablo.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I believe you. I just haven't seen it. So.
Yeah. Destiny 2, nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
Except for Sony, when they're like, we're going to come in there and fucking take over because you guys aren't making the money you're supposed to be making.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like it'd be a fucking insult to every other game, including Diablo 4, which I don't think is that great of a game, if Destiny 2 won.
Yeah.
I think it shouldn't win.
I'm going to go ahead and stick with I think it's going to be Fortnite, but I would like it to be Final Fantasy 14 because regardless of it being in a bit of a lull right now, I do think it's like one of the best service games I've ever played. So
sure, I agree with that. I just for me, and I agree with that almost every year. But this year, I actually have something I like. I really want Helldivers 2 to win something.
Yeah.
Because even though they had that hiccup, like it's like one of the biggest splashes of the year.
Yeah.
There's like 3 games that came out this year that like had huge splashes, and Helldivers 2 lasted a while. Wukong came out, huge splash, but people stopped talking about it quick. Helldivers 2, it lasted a while until that fucking hiccup happened.
Yeah. Which isn't their fault, obviously. That's Sony's.
Sure.
So.
Well, you're talking about one of 2 hiccups. When I say hiccup, I'm talking about the multiple problems because there's a balancing problem and there was the Sony sign-in thing. Yeah, there's an issue.
I know the Sony sign-in one was the one. Yes, mostly the one I've been talking about because like
what I'm talking about the whole thing.
Yeah, I just know a lot of that sign-in stuff that they said they were going to change their mind on. Some people still can't play because of that.
Yeah, the big problem is when that started and that conversation was happening, people were still playing it a lot.
Yeah,
they're just bitching about it, which I understand. But then when the balances came out that like ruined everything, people stopped playing the game. You could actually see the player numbers dip when that happened. So yeah, they had a big hiccup after the game came out, and obviously heard it, but now they're working towards fixing it. So and force Sony to be more transparent about if you have to sign in. So which is a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because people should know before they buy a game if they're gonna have to sign up for something.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
So wait, you think Fortnite? You want 14? Okay, fair enough. I just want Helldivers 2 to win something. It deserves it. One of my favorite games of the year. Next category is games for impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. This category is always so I get what they're going for, but like it's so weird because you could like make that claim for so many games. but there's, I don't know, specific type of games that they're looking for this, I guess. Categories are closer the distance, Osmotic Studios, Indica, Odd Meter, which was a game that somebody wanted us to play for Community Pick Game of the Month. Neva, Nomada Studio, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Deck 9, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Ninja Theory, Tales of Kenzera Zhao, Sergeant Studios. I think and want Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 to win. The reason is I haven't played any of these games. I haven't even played Hellblade 2, and I need to. The only reason I didn't play is because I heard it was like a 7 or 6 hour game that a lot of people weren't very happy with, but a lot of people were. But the quality is definitely there. It's a beautiful looking game, definitely high quality, and it's a story-based game. So when you're talking about like pro-social meaning or message, thought-provoking game, I think Hellblade 2 probably was that. So it's also probably the biggest game out of this outside of Life is Strange, because I know people love Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I don't think Neva's going to win. I don't think Indica's going to win, although maybe it will. I've heard a couple people talk about it. Closer to the Distance, I've never heard of that. And Tales of Kenzera had a big thing on X where people were like arguing about woke stuff, which is stupid, but that's the only thing I heard about that game is people arguing with each other about it. So,
Exactly.
it's a shame because somebody made that game. Somebody, just an indie dev, made a fucking game, and people, wanted to have a culture war over it. But that's the only thing I heard about it. So, which kind of sucks. So, yeah, I think and want Senua Saga. I think there's a chance Life is Strange will win too, though, because people really love those games, and probably for all the reasons this is trying to have a winner of for those reasons. So anyway, your thoughts?
This is an entire category of I am completely ignorant.
Yeah.
So the only thing on this whole list I know anything about at all is Senua Saga. So I'm just going to say think and want on that one. So
Okay. Next one up is innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. The nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Treyarch, Diablo 4, Blizzard, Dragon Age The Veilguard, BioWare. Surprised to see that on here. I haven't seen it on anything so far. So that wasn't even on the RPG one. Or not. There's an RPG one, right? Yeah, with the Yakuza and stuff. Yeah, surprised to see not see that on there. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. Of course, all of these are great because they all have accessibility. We like that stuff. I'm not sure on what they're doing individually, but it is becoming more and more commonplace for games to put more work into their accessibility, which I think is awesome. And shout out to Star Wars Outlaws, oddly enough, because they have a feature in their game that you can turn on and off yellow paint, which is a divisive topic. Some people don't mind it. Some people love it. I fucking hate it. They're doing what I want people to do and giving you the option to turn it off for immersion, because I think it's in certain situations not so bad, but other ones I think it's so fucking lazy. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if you call that accessibility, but it's a cool feature. Because I'm completely ignorant on this, I think Dragon Age will win it, just because there's a lot of love for that game from like game journalists. I mean, a lot of people are enjoying it in general, but the people I hear talk about the most are game journalists, the way they talk about it. So yeah, that might be a way for it to get a win. I want Star Wars Outlaws to win because they did something I want them to do.
I mean, that's more of a reason I'm going to have for any of this. So.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Here's what I know. Every time I start an Xbox game, every time, and it is a good thing, I just find it inconvenient for me, obviously, but it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It immediately starts asking me 7,000 questions with a voice, text-to-voice thing, asking me about the accessibility features. That is first and foremost, and so the people who need that, it's there for them immediately. And so I just know that about Xbox.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go out and say I think it's gonna be Call of Duty.
Okay.
Man, do I not care who gets it. Fuck it. I want it to be Call of Duty.
Okay. So you think and want Call of Duty?
Sure.
I want Star Wars Outlaws because something that might not be accessibility, and I think
It's accessibility.
I think Dragon Age because, well, technically, but all games with yellow paint, I guess, are just for accessibility. Then, just they give you the choice to turn off, which is fucking fantastic. Want more games to do that, and then Dragon Age, just because I think the journalists are gonna really.
I haven't heard a single person talking about that game.
Journalists love it. There's
I
a
don't
10 out
follow
of 10,
them, so.
amazing writing, the best voice acting ever, all this shit. And then I watch cutscenes and I'm like, this literally has the acting quality of Blue's Clues, of Steve going, is there a clue in here? Wow, a clue. And the writing of The Fucking Room by Tommy Wiseau. The game might be great. I hear it's fun, but fucking those cutscenes are terrible. Anyway, best performance awarded to an individual for voice acting, motion, and or performance capture. The nominees are Brianna White, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Who's she play?
I don't know.
Aerith or Tifa? I mean, she's got to play one of those two.
Yeah.
Hannah Tell, Life is Strange Double Exposure. Humberly Gonzalez.
Why are we not getting their roles? It's so weird.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid. This is the girl who plays the main character in Star Wars Outlaws. I know that for sure. Umberly Gonzalez, Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2. And Melina Jurgens, Senua Saga Hellblade 2. I want Silent Hill 2. Luke Roberts. He did an awesome job in that game. The game's fucking awesome in general, but he did a fantastic job. He really brought some life to James in his performance, so he definitely, I think, deserves the win. I kind of think he might win too, but also Melina Jurgens does a fantastic job in the two games she's been in, so I think there's a good chance she could win as well. I wish I knew which character Brianna White. I'm gonna guess it's Aerith, but I don't think any of the performances in that game are particularly like outstanding. I think they're all like
They're fine.
I think they're fine to pretty good.
Yeah.
Or fitting, I guess, is the term I'd use for that.
Fitting's probably better.
And some of them not so fitting, but like none of them were bad. Life is Strange, I don't know anything about. I haven't played any of the Life is Strange games outside of the first one that I fucking hate. Star Wars Outlaws, there's no way she can win because there's like cutscenes where people were like reading things off like they were like they're bad performances. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to Luke Roberts or Melina Jurgens. So I want Silent Hill 2. That's tough of which one I think will win. I'm just gonna. I think Luke Roberts.
Okay.
Even though I think there's a very good chance Melina's going to win as well. But I'm just gonna put all my chips on Silent Hill 2.
I definitely think it's going to be Melina. Watching, the amount they showed so many videos of her in the mocap suit acting out the parts. And
Yeah, they
stuff
bring
like
her
that.
out at events and just have her do it.
And then like watching what that became with like playing a very non-traditional character.
Yeah.
I think was huge as far as like an acting gig goes. And then I'm just gonna throw Silent Hill bone and say I'd like Luke to win. I don't know the performance myself, but you've talked it up a lot. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Melina, but I'm rooting for Luke.
Luke had to do good. Otherwise, you'd hear only negative things if you fuck that up. So, yeah, he did a good job. Especially because he added life to a character that was played.
In an era where...
I love the original performance, but it's not modern day voice acting.
Sure as hell ain't Chris's blood either, so...
True. That's even worse. So you think Melina, you want Luke?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I think there's a good chance that Luke's gonna win, but we'll find out. And yeah, if the girl from Hellblade wins, that's not surprising, honestly, because she's obviously great. Best audio design, recognizing the best in game audio and sound design. The nominees are Astrobot Team Asobi, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Treyarch, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Senua's Saga. There's one for music, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just sound design.
Yeah.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Ninja Theory, and Silent Hill 2. Bloober Team. I want Silent Hill 2 to win so bad that I will be disappointed in everyone who voted if it doesn't win. Because even though I'm sure these all have great audio design,
I actually don't know why Final Fantasy 7.
I don't either. That literally doesn't deserve to be here, honestly. Especially next to games like Senua's Saga, Silent Hill 2. Senua's Saga obviously has really interesting audio design. Even the first game did. Yeah. Silent Hill 2's audio design is some of the best I've heard in probably like 10 years. I did a whole TikTok where I talked about the fucking layers of what they're doing with the audio. It's insane. That's not just because I love that game. It's just they did a great job with it. So I want that to win. I think it'll win.
Okay.
It better win. I'm sure the rest of these games are all great. Call of Duty, I'm sure, has like good audio design, but I doubt it's like anything better than what they've done in the past. You gotta fucking pay. You gotta pay for the better audio in that. Did you hear about that?
Fuck no.
To have better audio, there's a pack. It's a DLC pack for better audio quality or something like that.
Get bad.
So that makes me hope that doesn't win. Final Fantasy I don't think should be here. I'm not saying it has bad audio design. It's just not. It's not in this category. And Astrobot I haven't played, but I'm sure it has great audio design because in the PS5 tech demo, it did a lot of really cool things with the vibrations and the sounds working together, and that's audio design. So they're obviously thinking about it. Yeah. So those three I think definitely make sense here. Silent Hill 2. I want and think.
I mean, you make a very passionate, compelling argument for Silent Hill.
There's not a better game that came out in 2024, audio design wise, than Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
Flat out. I mean, obviously you don't know, but like I'm just saying.
I'll just go ahead and say think and want then, but I would not be surprised if Senua got it because I have heard the audio in that game. It is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll just put the ball in Silent Hill's part.
That's what I'm saying. It's like some of these games I'm like, I don't know why you're here, because like when I'm thinking about Silent Hill 2 and I'm thinking of like Senua's Saga, I'm like, these are like games that really stand out audio design wise. Yeah. They put work into it. And then some of the other games like, Final Fantasy, it's got great music, but we're not talking about that. But like action, yeah, everything clank has all sounds, but they're not really doing anything that we need to be talking about here. So yeah, anyway, if Senua wins though, I get it, but I really do think Silent Hill 2 should win. All right, next one up is Best Score and Music for Outstanding Music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. This is tough. Really nominees are Astrobot, Team Asobi, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Square Enix, Metaphor Fantasio, Studio Zero, Atlas, Sega, Silent Hill 2, Bloober, Stellar Blade, Shift Up.
Bro, this is messed up. So, I mean, Square makes amazing music. Yeah. But so does the Persona team who did Metaphor. Those are both great. And then I'm a sucker for Cosmograph's music, Shift Up. They do Stellar Blade and Nikke, and Nikke has really good music. So I'm really torn. I think Final Fantasy VII is going to get it. That's what I think. I'm on the fence between Metaphor and Final Fantasy for what I want, because though I think the 7th stuff's really good, I kind of like a lot of the original pieces better than the remade ones. I'm just going to put it all into Final Fantasy 7, I think. But this is a hard one for me, for sure. There's a lot of good music here.
Yeah. I don't remember the music in Stellar Blade. I think it was like very like just dramatic type music, right? I only
in the beginning.
Yeah. I don't really remember it. Two of these games are remakes of two games that I think have some of the best soundtracks in gaming history.
Yeah, I don't know about the new version of Silent Hill, but I know Silent Hill 2 and the original had phenomenal.
It's one of the best soundtracks ever in gaming. But so is Final Fantasy VII. I love the music of Final Fantasy VII. Rebirth does a great job on that. I love the music in Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 Remake does a fantastic job on that. Akira Yamaoka actually came in and remade all the songs.
Oh, okay, good.
And two of the versions are actually not as good as the original, in my opinion, just because they're so different that I want the originals.
But 7.
But they, yeah. I still love the new versions, but the older versions, the price so ingrained in my head. I'm like, it has to be that way. Especially the song Betrayal in Silent Hill 2. I won't talk about the part, but the original one is so much better. But this one was cool. Astrobot has cool music for sure. I've watched, obviously, in some of the reviews, they play some of the songs, and I'm like, that's definitely catchy and works well for the atmosphere. And the prior games have all had really cool soundtracks. Stellar Blade, I don't remember. Metaphor, Refantasio, I think has a really cool soundtrack as well. It's not as good as Final Fantasy VII or Silent Hill 2. So, I want Silent Hill 2 to win, but I have to pick that because Akira Yamaoka is not only one of my favorite composers in gaming, but also like a huge inspiration for me personally in music, for music I make. What I think will win, that's a tough one because people love Silent Hill 2's soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how many people on TikTok are praising it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so nice to live at a time now where so many people are praising Akira Yamaoka more than they used to. But Final Fantasy VII also is like a celebrated, has a celebrated score. So I want Silent Hill 2 for sure, 1000%. But I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth might take it, and I think it deserves it as well. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. But the rest of them are all great, except for I don't remember Stellar Blade. I've heard a little bit of Astrobot, but Metaphor I don't think a lot of people are going to vote for, but it's awesome. It's got a really cool soundtrack.
Yeah.
All right. Next category is Best Art Direction for Outstanding Creative and or Technical Achievement in Artistic Design and Animation. The nominees are Astrobot, Black Myth, Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor, Refantasio, and Neva. Let's see. Creative and or Technical Achievement in Artistic Design and Animation. Well, what do you think?
The animation part's throwing me off.
Well, the animation makes a lot of sense because out of all these, Black Myth Wukong has the best animation in terms of like, animating 3D models. But then I'd make the argument of artistic design and animation. Metaphor has fucking amazing artistic design.
Yeah, so initially my thought was Metaphor because the art.
Yeah,
the art
it's
in the entire game
strong.
Is very strong. The animation part, though, it's pretty stiff. It's a Persona-esque game. It has that real stiff animation. I think even though it's not a new game, Elden Ring, I think kind of is a good blend of both things going on, where it has good art direction and animation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think, honestly, it's like the best pick here if you're using both those terms. But I'm just going to go ahead and lean into Metaphor and say I want and think that'll win.
Yeah. I think Black Myth Wukong is going to win just because it's like undeniably gorgeous looking. And all these games are, for the most part. But I think a lot of people who maybe aren't deep diving and thinking about it as deep as possibly I might be thinking about it, will just, if you put them all in front of somebody, I think a lot of people just look at Wukong and be like, that looks really good. The animations are fucking phenomenal in that game. And the art design's obviously not only super imaginative, but also like it's dealing in like designs we don't see a lot of in Western games. So I think it has a lot to offer there. Astrobot, obviously, I think is like, very artistic and vibrant and cool looking, but I don't think enough to stand out compared to some of these games. That Neva game, I don't think is going to win against these games. It feels like the best art direction for an indie game. It obviously has a visual style, but next to like Metaphor, it can't really compete in like, you know, trying to be like, you know, this animated look, because Metaphor is just like phenomenal looking. See, I think Black Myth, even though I think there's a very good chance that Metaphor or Elden Ring will take that. What I want to win, I'll say Metaphor, just because I think it's just so fucking cool to look at. I'm playing the game and I'm just constantly like, is there like can we make a category for like best UI in a game? Because like fucking nobody would beat Metaphor this year. It's like
it's beautiful.
It's so cool to look at, and nobody fucking obviously needs to do that. Most people aren't, but they are.
Yeah, most people are trying to get rid of the UI.
Yeah, and these guys are just like, we're gonna make you going through menus and like it's gonna be an experience for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love for that to win. I just have a feeling Black Myth's going to win, but also have a feeling Elden Ring might win, just because FromSoftware, their fucking designs are like
impeccable.
Nobody compares. You look at a FromSoftware game, you know who made it, and they speak to me because like their designs are like everything that I love and like what can be badass looking. Like FromSoftware is just like making, like, as like a huge Berserk guy, love Berserk, they're like dabbling with that dark fantasy look that they do so well. It's like fucking screams to me, so I love it. But I also have that weird feeling of like, because the DLC, it's going to get shunned more, because I think a lot of people kind of recognize it probably shouldn't have taken a spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I think Black Myth, I want Metaphor. And what'd you say?
Metaphor.
Both?
Yep.
Okay. Next one up is Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Development in a Game. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. It's fucking so hard, dude.
It's actually pretty easy for me. Only because I'm ignorant on the one I know that you love there. And then the other three, I don't know. Like for me, it's Final Fantasy VII. I think minus a couple slow parts, the game is just a constant story happening and being given to you, and you go through all these events really well. And I think they just did a really good job. And I also think they tidied up a lot of the VA work as well in this one to make the story even more enjoyable than the first part. So yeah, I've only heard that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a fun game, but you always talk about the lack of story and narrative, so it's kind
when
of
I talk to people who also have played it, are playing it, or have beaten it, and everyone agrees with me when I say that.
Yeah. I'm not far enough in Metaphor to have a strong opinion about that. The beginning is strong, and I actually love what it's doing, but I can't, like, in good faith pick it because I just don't know where it goes. And that's the same for the two after it. So
I think and want Silent Hill 2. The reason is if you have played it or you know the story, and if you have played this remake story, when you beat that game, you're not going to not be impacted by it. I think the only games that possibly could even have that kind of impact is like Senua Saga, maybe, even though I didn't hear much about it. Like, people said it was gorgeous, and that was it.
yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I surprisingly haven't gotten that spoiled for me, so I don't know where it ends. But I have a feeling certain things happen in it. And you know, that's probably a very, if I'm assuming, right, is a very impactful scene. I don't know how they do it, though. But Silent Hill 2, they nailed it. And I think any of these game journalists or people in these committees that are voting for these games are likely going to either pick Final Fantasy VII or Silent Hill 2. But I think Silent Hill 2's story is so fucking leaves such an impact when you beat it. You're like, fuck. That I think it's gonna win. And I want it to win.
Kind of sad that what I would say the strongest two on here are both remakes of old games.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's what kind of sucks. But like, and I'm not saying I don't want to be praising Silent Hill 2 so much, but like, the original game is one of my favorite games ever made, and then they knocked the fucking remake out of the park. That's all you had to do, is not mess it up. But they did like exceptional work on it. And so it already has like years and years and years of love to it, and then they did a great job, just like Final Fantasy. So like they get edges on a lot of people just because they're already established and they have years of love to them. And so it's easy to just kind of bet on them. But I don't think Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is probably going to pick up in a way that's going to be best narrative. It's awesome. The game is awesome, but like I don't think it's going to be. Senua Saga I haven't beat, so I don't know. But like I didn't hear anybody really talking about the end of it. Like people are just like, oh, it's gorgeous. People should play it. And people are like, it's too short. And they're like, no, it's not. Metaphor, I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it outside of that. It's, you know, a great looking game, which I agree with. But so yeah, I think it's going to be one of those two. But I think and want Silent Hill 2 for sure. I feel kind of confident about that, but it's going to be one of those two for sure. Watch it be Senua Saga, which I wouldn't be surprised. Best Game Direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Nominees are Astrobot, Balatro, that game's getting a lot of love, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. Creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. I don't know if I'd say any of these innovate on anything. When it comes to direction and design, I mean, maybe Metaphor, because they're innovating on, like, you know, how you can design game art, UI assets, and gameplay. Yeah. But it's tough. So creative vision, outstanding creative vision. I don't think Balatro belongs here. I'm sure it's great. Maybe there's an argument to be made with the game direction or whatever in design. Creative vision, Elden Ring is an easy pick. Also Black Myth, I think. I don't think Astrobot will win this, but I wouldn't be surprised because I think that's a game everybody can love. Final Fantasy VII, I don't think that it's gonna win this one. And Metaphor, I think it would be cool if it won it, but I don't think it'll win it either. This is a really, really, really tough one. Creative vision. I think Black Myth or Elden Ring is gonna get this. I'm gonna just say Black Myth because I don't know if it's gonna win Game of the Year or not, but I feel like they got to give it something because of the splash it made, and so it might get best game direction. So I think it's going to be that. I haven't said I want Elden Ring yet, have I? Mm-mm. Okay, I want Elden Ring to win this because it does have a creative vision and innovation. It innovates on itself, which is kind of cool. It changes some stuff up for sure. So, but I also want Metaphor to win. So. But I'll just go with Elden Ring. It needs some love from me, and it's great. I think it's kind of a conflicting pick. But yeah, I think Black Myth, I want Elden Ring.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring. I want Metaphor because I'm just in love with the game, the way the game looks. So
yeah, it's fucking awesome. Definitely stands out.
But I think Elden Ring is undeniable. So.
Yeah, I'm probably playing it way too safe with Elden Ring with a lot of my thoughts, but I just feel like there's so much controversy with it that a lot of people are probably going to be afraid to pick it.
Yeah, I'm only picking it because, like, I almost wanted to go with Astrobot, but I haven't played any of it, so I don't really know.
And, I wish I played it so I could be a little more confident with it.
I do think it is one of the more unique choices here. Yeah, I don't know. I know Black Myth is a really good looking game and like really smooth animation and stuff like that, but it's also just kind of like an action game. With, I don't know. It doesn't come off. I'm gonna get hung for this one. It doesn't come off like that new to me, other than just like it's very like shiny.
Yeah, so. I'm going for the outstanding creative vision part.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyways, I think Elden Ring I want Metaphor. I'll stick with that.
Okay. Game of the Year. We're already here. So final category, Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. I personally think a lot of games got robbed of this, but let's go through the nominees. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong. People said that wasn't going to be a Game of the Year nominee. I knew it fucking would be. Here it is. Elden Ring Shadow, the Erdtree. Very controversial. I kind of agree with people that it probably shouldn't be here. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And last, and surprisingly, even on here at all, Metaphor Refantasio. I'm like really kind of blown away it's even on here. Because games like that normally don't make it. We got, I guess technically 3, but like 2 like traditional JRPGs. Well, 1 traditional, but 2 JRPGs, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, just to kind of explain my thoughts, I already said it a little bit earlier, but the only reason I have a conflict with Elden Ring even being here is I think it kind of robs brand new games of 2024 that probably should have been here. I don't necessarily have a problem with a DLC being on here, I guess, but
as long as it's of substance enough to be like a game.
It's a whole thing. But a lot of people make the argument of like, you have to have the base game that didn't come out this year to even play it.
Sure,
it's not a standalone thing. When we do our Game of the Year discussion on this channel, make sure to watch it. I do allow expansions and big enough DLCs just because, you know, we're not an official thing. We're not representing anything. It's just like what we thought was the best thing that year. So I can't be a hypocrite. But I do think about like games like Dragon's Dogma 2, Helldivers 2, Silent Hill 2, all the 2s, all the sequels. A bunch of games came out this year that could, in my opinion, win Game of the Year, and they can't be on here because of a DLC. So that does kind of suck. I also think it's weird that Balatra's on here. But in the same vein, it's kind of interesting to see an indie game on there. So I don't want to take that from them. I just think like another game. I don't think Balatra's Game of the Year. I don't think a lot of people would even argue that. So it's kind of interesting. But I don't want to take anything away from that. But Black Myth makes sense to me. Astrobot makes sense to me. Final Fantasy VII I knew was going to be on here. Metaphor, I'm just surprised it's on here. I don't think it shouldn't be or should be. I'm just like, oh, okay. So with all that said, when it comes to my thoughts on Game of the Year, I think about this. What do you think?
Even though it probably shouldn't be there, I'm going to be honest. I want it to be Elden Ring. I think it is probably for me the most fun out of the 6 games there.
Even next to Final Fantasy.
I liked Final Fantasy. I didn't like love it though.
Yeah, you beat it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's gonna be Final Fantasy because I know people like just love that game. So
it's also consistently since the beginning of the year, surprisingly to me, it's been talked about.
Yes.
In the capacity of Game of the Year since it came out, and it still has been being talked about for Game of the Year. I don't hear anybody talking about Metaphor Refantasio. I've seen a couple people on X being like, it better not get snubbed, not get snubbed. But you always have these like small RPG fans who get upset that, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 didn't make or something like that, which I agree with them. Like, you know, it sucks that your game didn't get there, but I feel like those are the same people that are going to want Metaphor, but I don't think it's going to win. At all. I have a weird stinging suspicion that like Black Myth might win, but I kind of don't think that either. I kind of think it might be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Well, I agree with like earlier when you said like it was like a flash in a hot pan moment, because afterwards, and I didn't hear anything negative about the game. I'm just gonna be.
What are you talking about, Black Myth?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did hear people go, bosses were awesome. The rest of the game was meh. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like.
I just know people personally. I know in real life who fucking said Black Myth is their Game of the Year.
Yeah, one. But there are also some people who just love like that boss rush, you know, type of gameplay. Anyways,
I also think because we don't get like, and this might sound kind of weird, but like we don't get a lot of like Chinese themed stuff at a AAA level, and so I think like for people who like Chinese culture and like, you know, the more like martial arts stuff and the Journey to the West and all this stuff, you're getting something you don't get. Like you haven't gotten. So I think it was kind of impactful in that way. But I also have this weird like sneaking suspicion that a lot of the hype behind it's like not real.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like,
and I do think it's a.
I'm not trying to put my tinfoil hat on
for sure. I'm not like trying to talk down on it.
Yeah,
but I feel like that conversation was there and then gone, versus like you said, people still talk about Final Fantasy VII, which is the reason I'm even thinking about. Because like even for me, out of these, I'm not picking that personally. I think Elden Ring is just like a phenomenal game, and so like, that's I have to pick that out of these. So I like 7. I have issues with it though. So
that's how I feel about Elden Ring Shadow, the Erdtree though. Like I loved it, but some of the systems they put in there feels not as fulfilling as the base game. It feels, and I get why they did it. People, anytime I bring this up, people are like, they did it because I'm like, no, I get why they did it, and I have no issue with that. And the world is fucking gorgeous, but like some of the stuff feels unfinished. Some of the paths you take are just dead ends, which is so not FromSoftware. It almost feels like it wasn't finished. And some of the mechanics kind of feel muted compared to the RPG feeling of the base game, where you're playing and leveling up, having to find the
Shadow Tree fragments.
The fragments. It almost gives it like a Far Cry, like complete the area feeling that Elden Ring didn't have. And again, I fucking love that DLC, but I have a similar view on it as some people have talked about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, yeah, I feel conflicted about it. What'd you pick?
I think Final Fantasy is gonna get
okay.
Yeah.
And what do you want?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Okay. Yeah. I don't think Bellatra will win. If it does win, I think it's gonna be like a meme win. I don't think Metaphor will win, even though I would not at all be upset if it won.
Yes.
I actually would think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it would actually get a lot more eyes on it. In fact, I think it being here, because I've seen people on TikTok straight up buy Bellatra after seeing this list.
I mean, that's like the Walking Dead game that I just was not paying attention to at all back in the day. And then we saw it win Game of the Year. I'm like, should I play that? And I played it, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, this does mean something. Yeah. It's here for a reason. I'm actually curious on why Metaphor's here, because, like, I'm playing it, I'm liking it a lot, but, like, is there something to it that I don't know? Well, it's, like, really fucking good?
It's tough, too, because, like, that's easily a 100-hour game. Well, I mean, I put over 100 hours in Final Fantasy VII as well, so.
Yeah, that's a big game, too, for sure.
So, like, the meat is obviously going to be in the game and not, like, so shallow. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think Metaphor will win. I don't think Bellatra will win. I think Black Myth is either going to be the winner or a Mirage, because I feel like there's some validity behind some of the hype being artificial, but I'm not sure. Elden Ring, I feel so mixed on for the reasons I've already said, but also I feel like people voting for it might also feel conflicted on it. I saw game journalists putting I forgot what it's called, just questions of yes or no or whatever on polls. They're putting polls on X going like, do you think this game deserves to be here or not? So even they were like asking those questions.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's a completely fair question.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't on here, I would be totally fine with that, and I could easily make another decision at that point. But it is on here.
Yeah. Well, sure.
That's why I'm making the decision.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's bad that you're picking.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it from who's going to vote for it and if they will or not. So I think Final Fantasy VII is going to win. Even though I think Black Myth could definitely win as well. Sure. I think Elden Ring could also win. I want Astrobot to win.
All right.
Just because I think that's a game that probably most people can agree is just awesome across the board.
Sure.
And when you think about the game of the year that like represents most people, I think it'd be great to see a game like that win. I know it's gonna be disappointing for people because they probably have like a deep love for Black Myth, deep love for Elden Ring, deep love for Final Fantasy VII. Right. But like for me personally, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'm not playing it right now. I need to beat it, but like I kind of fell out of it because like it feels kind of bloated. The story's great, but like the story also is given to you in segments. So like it's definitely not my game of the year. It's a little bit of a spoiler for our game of the year discussion at the end of the year. but but I also feel like it could win and might get voted for just because of the nostalgia factor, and it's a quality game. But and Elden Ring, I feel mixed on as well. Like I don't, and not just because of the DLC thing, but also because there's things done in that DLC that felt like not as well done as they could have been. I didn't play Black Myth. I didn't play Astrobot either, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I want that to be Game of the Year. Balatro I don't care about. I haven't played it. I don't honestly think a card game should win Game of the Year at all. And Metaphor, I'm not far enough into to say if it's Game of the Year or not. But so far, I'm liking it a lot. I just don't love it because I haven't beaten it. So, but Astrobot I think would just be a great, fun win. That also kind of neutralizes things between like, you know, should Final Fantasy, should Elden Ring, should Black Myth win? Yeah, fuck it. Astrobot should win. That settles it. So I want that to win, but I think Final Fantasy will win. I think I'm going to be wrong though, but I think it's going to win.
So it's going to be between a Sony game and it's a Square game, but a Sony game and a Sony game for you.
Yeah. And a soon to be Sony game since Sony's going to be buying FromSoftware.
I really hope that they don't buy Kodokawa. So
I think it makes sense.
I do too, but
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
There's a different,
but I think it's a long time coming.
Well, they already own Crunchyroll, right? So they're already like heavily invested in anime, and Kodokawa is huge in anime.
Oh, really?
And then they also own FromSoft.
They've just had such a tight relationship with FromSoft for so long that I just wouldn't be surprised if they bought them. I'm not somebody who's looking for, you know, this team or this team to acquire more because that normally doesn't lead to good things. But and exclusivity and all that kind of shit, especially for companies that make things for everybody. But it would make sense. And then maybe we'll get Bloodborne finally if they're all under the same roof.
Yeah, my only problem is Sony has a history of censorship, and a lot of the properties they'd be acquiring would get ruined. So
possibly. They're kind of hands off though with Bungie until they couldn't be.
I don't know. So I am speaking video or anime right now. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
because the company
FromSoftware
owns a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Kodokawa. I saw that they were thinking of buying them, which would be huge. But for what that means with FromSoftware, that would make sense to me. I don't know what else they offer in terms of like what Kodokawa has outside of anime, but like you said, it makes sense there to have Crunchyroll. So it sounds like a multi.
They'd be acquiring a lot of IPs by buying that one company.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which sounds like Sony because they do more than just games. So
yeah, and it is Sony, not Sony Interactive Entertainment.
Yeah.
They are different.
But by proxy, yeah, they would still have FromSoftware for...
Yeah. It's just Sony is Japanese, Sony, SIE is California.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but we'll see. And this isn't Tastecast, even though it's about that length.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that when it comes to all the categories of what we think. Let us know in the comments what do you guys think, whether you're watching through this whole episode and you want to go through every category and let us know what you think on those, what you want, what you think will win, your arguments. What do you think should have been here? How do you feel about Elden Ring in terms of it being nominated at all but for Game of the Year? How do you feel about Balatro being nominated Game of the Year? Does it deserve to be there? What do you think? If you don't answer any of the other questions, answer this one. What do you think will win Game of the Year? Let's get our predictions out there. But also, what do you want to win? Different things. And what do you think about our picks? If you don't agree, feel free to let us know. Just in a nice way, obviously. Let's have a discussion.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think it's going to do it. Really excited to find out who wins all these. I know a lot of people like to instantly start trash talking anything that Jeff Keighley has to do with, but I like the Game Awards. I'm excited to see all the reveals, and I'm excited to see people get recognition, if anything.
So many trailers.
Yeah.
So many trailers.
Yeah, which will be nice because it was kind of a dry spell there for a little bit when it comes to games and trailers and shit. So it's all being saved. So anyway, that's our thoughts. Let us know yours. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you for joining me, Chevy. Thank you guys for joining us for this. And until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.